What is good, YouTube? Coming back to you with y'all favorite analyst, the number one source, about to tell y'all my opinion up on the Los Angeles Clippers. We're gonna have a little fun with this video today. Man, the Los Angeles Clippers came a long way. They was at the number 6 spot for a long time in the rankings. And now they went all the way up to the 4th spot, and they got a chance to actually go up to number 2 or 3 if they continue winning. They went on a winning streak earlier this season, which was impressive because they really been struggling in the beginning of the season, low key. And it's surprising to see that this team turned it around. Of course, they had an easy schedule, but they beat some decent teams lately. And Clippers, it's surprising because, like I said, I seen Bill Simmons. I seen a lot of magazines. I was reading. I work at the post office, so I was reading a lot of magazines, and I said Clippers, the number 1 team in the West. Clippers gonna go to the finals. I'm like, dang. Then we see the Clippers this year. They the number 6 seed, number 7 seed the whole year, and now they won 5 in a row. Dallas lost a couple games. San Antonio struggled because they had injuries, and now they move all the way up to the 4th seed. And I'm looking like, man, it's time to make a video about the Clippers because they really have a chance to do what everybody else said, but the way it's looking like that they gonna still be a 2nd round exit. If you really, and that's what I want to talk about. I'm not a Clippers hater. I'm actually like the Clippers. I actually a fan of the Clippers. I'm not a fan that likes. I just know that they're a good team. I should say they're a very good team, but this team gonna look like a 1st round exit. And on some real talk. And we're gonna talk about that today. But first, I want to tell you guys the record they got. They 31-14. They 1 game behind Portland. So if Portland lose tomorrow, no, they 2 games behind Portland. So if Clippers win another game and Portland lose a game, they'd be the 3rd seed, and they 3 games behind Memphis. So if the Clippers can win 8 in a row, Memphis lose 2 out of 5, and Portland lose 2 out of 5, and Clippers win their next 3 games, the Clippers could be the number 2 seed in the West that quick. And that's how good the West is. Like, everybody's so close to each other. Like, Dallas, they was 1 game away from being the number 2 seed. Instead, they lost 2 games in a row. Now they're the number 6 seed. So, like, damn, that's crazy. But the Clippers right now, they have a very good shot of being a number 2 seed. But the sad part about it, they had to play San Antonio in the 1st round, which we all know the Clippers are not going to beat San Antonio in a 7-game series. And I look at the Clippers, and I'm looking at their stats, and I'm looking at how the team plays. I don't really see the Clippers even getting out the 1st round. I don't think they can beat Dallas. I don't think they can beat Memphis. I don't think they can beat. Only team I know they can beat is Phoenix. And they had trouble beating Phoenix in the regular season, but the playoffs is something different. I think they can beat the Phoenix in a 7-game series. But I don't really see the Clippers really beating any team in the 1st round. And it's sad to see that because they got out of the 1st round in the last couple years, and they pretty much stayed the same as a team. They really didn't get that much better. And that's why a lot of people was picking them to go to the finals, because they said the next thing, they got a lot of chemistry. They've been together for a while. Blake Griffin going to have a whole season to get better, which he has gotten better. Chris Paul still dominating. He's still averaging a double-double almost, and he's averaging close to 10 assists as always, and he's turning over the ball way less. But until like they get that 3rd player, that 4th player that can, like, OKC got Reggie Jackson, they got Kevin Durant, they got Westbrook, they got Ibaka. But the Clippers really only got Jamal Crawford, Chris Paul, and Blake Griffin. And like I said, Blake Griffin not really a defensive player or a defensive stopper. He's athletic, but he's not a good defender. Same with Jamal Crawford. He's not really a lockdown defender, but he can get 20 points. Chris Paul and Matt Barnes, Matt Barnes' defense slipped a little bit too. They the only 2 players that's defense. Even like JJ Redick, he's not a good defender. He's gonna get shredded by OKC. He's gonna get shredded by the Dallas Mavericks. Because they got so much. Monte Ellis going to destroy Jamal Crawford and J.J. Redick. And then you got to worry about Dirk Nowitzki going to shred Blake Griffin. And then Tyson Chandler, that's going to be a good matchup, Tyson Chandler versus DeAndre Jordan. But it's just, these teams has more than one option. And the Clippers, another thing about the Clippers is that they rely too much on isolation. They rely a lot on Jamal Crawford just to come off a screen, chuck up a three. They rely on him a lot to dribble, chuck up a jump shot. They offense, like you seen in the OKC series. I wish I can show you guys some proof. Like you see in the OKC series, they just lost that series because they didn't execute in the fourth quarter. They had a lot of bailout shots by Jamal Crawford. Dribble, shoot. Like they hold the ball for like 10 seconds. They couldn't get nothing going. They give it to Jamal Crawford. Dribble, throw up a jump shot. Dribble, throw up a three-point shot. Or give it to Chris Paul. Run pick and roll on the fly. Throw up a jump shot. They ain't really got no offense in the fourth quarter besides pick and roll. And that's going to hurt them. And that's what hurt them against OKC. That's going to hurt them against the Spurs. Say they do get the number 2 seed. They got to go against the Spurs. That pick and roll ain't going to work against the Spurs because the Spurs are a top defensive team. And they got rotations like crazy. And like I said, like the Clippers when they played the Spurs last time, the Spurs going to expose the weaknesses of the Clippers defenses. They know JJ Redick can't guard Manu Ginobili. They know he can't guard the pick and roll. They know he's not a good person to come off screens. Make JJ Redick run off all them screens because he's going to give up. He ain't quick enough. He's not athletic enough to keep up. Get some Patty Mills 3. Get Ginobili to come off a screen, get some layups, get some dunks. And they're going to expose the Clippers, just like every other team. The Clippers' defense has to improve. And I still think the Clippers, if they want to win the championship, they got to at least do one more trade. But the thing is, they don't really have nobody to trade to get better. They pretty much stuck as is. And this team is far from winning a championship. This team hasn't even got to the Western Conference Finals with the team that has gotten. They almost did it last year, but they came short. And I think this team, the only way they're going to win a championship with this team is if they get a better offense. Their offense is sloppy, especially in the fourth quarter, and they don't run a lot of plays that make sense. And it always ends up in, like I said, in that isolation when it's dribble with Jamal Crawford, chuck up a three, or a screen, get Jamal Crawford enough room to shoot up a three, or shoot up a mid-range shot. They don't really have an offense. It's just chucking up shots. And that's what's going to cost them in the playoffs, like it cost them last year against OKC. They just don't get enough good quality shots in the fourth quarter. And they just don't have enough people that can create enough offense. Like Blake Griffin is sloppy in the post. He's horrible and is sloppy and ugly to watch him in the post. He used brute strength and then he try to use finesse at the same time. He's not a finesse player in the post. He's a power player. He just likes to bully you, back you down, and beat you down and dunk or do a hook shot. But it's sloppy and it ain't really well done. And Chris Paul, all he does is come off screens all the damn game and shoot up jump shots. It's good for the whole game when your opponent is struggling, but when in a close game, you should want to get the best shots and the easiest shots. Kind of like OKC. They struggle to have a good offense too, but they have a lot of options to get them a good shot. And then they added Dion Waiters, who is another isolation scorer. They can get the ball, they can dribble and get to the paint, draw some fouls. Only person that can really do that for the Clippers is Jamal Crawford. Chris Paul don't really draw that many fouls, and he settles for jump shots more than drawing fouls anyway. And Blake Griffin, the only way he can draw a foul is in the post, but now he's settling for more jump shots. The Clippers are a flawed team, and they missing one more player to give them that floor space and that give him that create his own shot. Once they get that player, it ain't JJ Redick, it ain't Matt Barnes, and it ain't DeAndre Jordan. It is Jamal Crawford and Chris Paul. But they need somebody else down there. And hopefully it's a three-man, a small forward that can do it. If they can get a player like, I don't think Wilson Chandler really the answer, people. I think a lot of people have been saying Wilson Chandler. I don't think Wilson Chandler is the answer to their problems. I think they need something better. Wilson Chandler won't make this team a championship contender. It'll make them the same team. I think he's an upgrade over Matt Barnes, but he still won't be the answer to this team. They need a player like Kawhi Leonard, a great shooter, a person that can knock down shots, play great defense, and still be able to take over games when they need to. They need a wingman to go with Chris Paul and Jamal Crawford, a stopper and a scorer that can create his own shot. Wilson Chandler is an inconsistent shooter. He's kind of streaky. They need somebody that's more consistent, like a Kawhi Leonard. He's the perfect player, or a Trevor Ariza, kind of. Because he can get out on a fast break. He can get some dunks. He can get some layups. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, subscribe, and share.